The following may contain offensive language, adult humor, and/or content that some viewers may find offensive. The views and opinions expressed by any one speaker does not explicitly or necessarily reflect or represent those of Mark Radulich or W2M Network. Please listen with caution, or don't listen at all.
Hooray for Hollywood, where stars are living large, in mansions with their servants and their credit cards in charge, with fame that's fleeting, but the egos never change, where everyone's a genius, except the ones who really arrange. Hooray for Hollywood, where the scandals always sell, where every whispered secret is a new tabloid's tell. Oh, how we adore the endless red carpet galore. Hooray for Hollywood, where less is always more.
Good evening, and welcome to the People's Court. Tonight on the docket is the DoorDash Girl. Guilty or innocent, you decide. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to Damn You, Hollywood. He's sleepy, I'm stupid, and this is The Running Man. The Running Man! That's it. That's the only intro you're getting out of me.
Okay. That should tell you everything you need to know about this movie, guys. Mark can't be bothered to talk about something other than bizarre social media scandals, and I don't even bother trying to correct him.
I wasn't even, on TikTok that much today, and this bullshit was all over my feed. It's not my fault.
Get off TikTok. You'll be better off.
You get off TikTok.
I'm not on it.
Yes, you are. I've seen your little icon thingy. Looking at my videos like a good boy.
I created an account to try and get on there to come hang out with you one time, and the response I got from TikTok was, please download all of our shit. And I said, no. I'm not doing that. If that means I can't go live and hang out with my friend, then so be it. I'm not putting your shit on my computer or my telephone.
I would like to give you the following viruses. No.
Yeah.
Every time, no.
That was my response to them. So, again, technically I have one, but I have done nothing with it. I will do nothing with it. I occasionally watch your stuff because I like you and I wish to support your endeavors.
You're the only one, except maybe Jesse. And that is our summation of The Running Man 2025.
Yeah, we should probably do what's on the tin and actually talk about the 2025 Running Man.
Yeah. Oh, I gotta do the thing, don't I?
You should read the wiki now. Yes, that was kind of the prompt for that.
Sorry, I got distracted. The Running Man, allegedly, is a 2025 dystopian action thriller film.
None of those. Dystopian is moderately applicable. The other two, not so much.
Directed by Edgar Wright. Remember when he used to be fun?
I am now I feel like Edgar Wright making a movie this boring, bland, uninteresting, forgettable, and all around crappy is one of the signs of the apocalypse.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with Edgar Wright and ask him, who are you so mad at? Written by Wright and Michael Bacall, it is the second adaptation of the 1982 novel by Stephen King following the 1987 film. The cast includes Glen Powell as the titular character, William H. Macy, Lee Pace, Michael Cera, Emilia Jones, Daniel Ezra, Jayme Lawson, Sean Hayes, Colman Domingo, and Josh Brolin. Hey, did you ever read the actual original Running Man?
Yes, I have. I rather enjoy it.
How close to the book is the movie?
This one?
No, asshole. The fucking Schwarzenegger one.
Well, I'm happy to tell you how much or how alike or dislike either one is from the novel.
This one is clearly closer to the book, so that's the one I'm asking about. It's
okay.
Also the one we're reviewing.
Okay.
Also, I don't want to talk about the Schwarzenegger one with you, Ants at a Picnic.
Okay.
Mister, you're going to hate it when you see it with...
Look, it's a terrible movie. It's cheap. It's dated. The only thing that saves that is Richard Dawson playing a parody of himself in Evil Version.
Did you see the on trial that we did?
Part of it.
Until you got disgusted and turned it off?
Mostly. You guys just pining for 1980s bullshit wrestling Saturday morning cartoon crap is just not my cup of tea. Sorry.
So stick to the script here, Sonny.
Yeah, no one calls it in the ring here.
I asked you a question.
Yeah, this one it's definitely closer than the Schwarzenegger version, for better and for worse. You know what? We have to talk about this, I think, if we're gonna hash this out, like where this thing goes wrong.
Well,
So,
let me
before I do that,
let me ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
I watched the Critical Drinkers video on this after Jonas and I saw the movie. Lily was at the Warped Tour. So it was just me and Jonas, and we were talking about it, and I was listening to the Critical Drinker, and he was like, they can't decide if Ben Richards is this like angry hothead ready to tear down the government, or if he's like this like sympathetic character who's just down on his luck and only wants to save his daughter. I mean, there's no reason why he can't be both things, but you'd have to write it better than the way they did it here.
Yeah,
what is he in the book?
You can do a complicated character, but no one here did a complicated character, from the writing, the acting, the directing, any of it.
No, he literally does like a many faces where it's like, now I'm angry guy, now I'm daddy guy.
Yeah.
So my question to you, counselor, is what is he in the book?
More just sympathetic father. Like, there's a deep undercurrent of anger to the character, but what motivates him is we don't get the whole like I'm angry and pro-union bit that we open with this one. The book literally opens with like the world sucks and his daughter needs medication, and the family's at the end of their rope. So he goes to the network to see which game show he can get on, because you go there, they do a bunch of the screenings, and then you get on whatever show they want to put you on.
Right.
And he's like, all right, I've got to get money for my kid who's sick, and we need money now, so this is what I'm doing.
So that's all out of the book?
Yes.
Okay. I'll tell you what my problem with the whole Running Man thing is. And despite your answer to picnic fucking weirdo explosion, you get mad at the weirdest stuff about the Schwarzenegger version. The Schwarzenegger version doesn't know the internet's going to be a thing in a few years. Okay? So it makes an assumption about how popular TV will be in 30 years. It assumes no other technology. It will exist.
That's true.
It does not live in a world of TikTok. It does not live in a world of social media.
It doesn't even live in a world of cable TV.
Right. It also doesn't live in the world of good, let it die. I don't know if you saw my TikTok on this, but I basically kind of looked at the psychology of when somebody points out that an institution is collapsing, the chorus online tends to be good, let it die. And I don't want to tweak your nipples. I really don't. I'm not in the mood for it tonight. But like, I'm not comfortable with the rising tide of nihilism in our idiot culture. Like, nihilism would be okay if we had a lot of emotionally intelligent people. We don't. So nihilism in the hands of morons is an alarming trend.
It has been. It has been pretty much since Nietzsche sort of started expressing it.
So my point being that your assumption that my problem with this movie, before we even get into like the craft elements and why we're talking about it now, because when Stephen King wrote the book, it assumed two things. One, people weren't going to be this stupid. Two, TV would be forever. Neither of those things happened. We got dumber. There's quantifiable evidence of this. Emotional intelligence, fucking all-time low. Literary intelligence, all-time low.
This is what happens when you pathologize everything, as you and I have talked about before. Like, oh no, the use of certain vocabulary words means I'm emotionally intelligent. No, it means you're a parrot.
So, you have that, right? You have the rise of social media and the death of television, all kind of happening at the same time. And it is dying. Like, television, by the time my kids become adults, and I am good and gone, we both are, we finally go back to our home planets where we came from. Like in about 20 years, when my son is 30 and my daughter is in her mid-30s, gone. Television will be a thing of the past. And you can't really do a movie that's going to resonate and make any kind of sense in a world where everyone's a dumb nihilist who's perfectly happy voting against their own self-interests and accepting the law of the land. Like Edgar Wright is one of my major problems with this movie. So very much wants people to be like, rise up, attack the government, like attack the institutions, bring back the peace-loving hippie punk rock world that I want to live in. Me and James Gunn. And everyone around him's like, nope, that's not even close to what we want. And then on top of it, it's like they didn't even adapt this for modern times. We're still doing television. We're still doing Colman Domingo doing Richard Dawson, who was the game show host. These aren't relevant things anymore. This was
the entire culture and ecosystem that spawned daytime game shows is gone and has been for quite a while.
You can't do The Running Man in a world where the Squid Game reality show exists.
Well, sort of realities. You can't do to be clear, like that's a really salient point. Like even if Squid Game just existed as pure, not the like weird.
I'm not talking about the show, the fiction. There's an actual game show.
No, I know. I'm saying like even if all you had was the fictional one instead of the pseudo competition, that still eats this thing's lunch in every conceivable way.
So I was a little excited for this version of The Running Man because I really thought in the hands of Edgar Wright, we would get a commentary on the state of the world collapse.
Something with a point of view, something with satire, something, an Edgar Wright movie.
I was thinking like RoboCop for modern times. RoboCop was satirizing the culture of the day. I was kind of hoping that's what we get with The Running Man. Nope. No one looked. When Stephen King wrote The Running Man, those many years ago, he was writing it in a world that doesn't exist anymore. If you're going to adapt The Running Man, you have to adapt it to the world that it's currently living in, or you get what this movie is, which is a hollow, unrelatable, bland mess.
It's a nothing burger.
But I asked you about the book 20 minutes ago, and you wanted to say stuff, and then I completely took you off the rails. So
my thing was just like, my thing that I was going to say was to understand where a lot of where this movie goes wrong is like we just said, you have to look at the world that spawned The Running Man to begin with. And then, okay, so what's different? Like what changed? And the ecosystem that spawned that is just not here anymore. And failing to update any of that is where a lot of this thing goes wrong.
It also assumes that people are savable. It assumes that people will do the right thing. And I because it's fresh on my mind, because it's all over social media today, I'm going to terribly date this podcast. But like the DoorDash girl really is a really great example of this. because here we have Edgar Wright making a movie in the hopes that people will see it and go, yeah, the world we live in sucks right now and we should do something about it. I am inspired. We can't get past some dip girl going into a guy's house and recording him without falling on dividing lines, taking a side, ignoring facts, ignoring morality, and deciding that whatever our internal need for validation is overrides everything else in this case. With people like that, you can't really amass an army to take down an institution as big and strong as the oligarchies that are forming or the government.
The entire affirmation culture was a mistake. If I could go back to the 90s and just like grab everyone who said, let's try affirming everyone and just point them at where this goes in 30 years. This is what we get. You think this is a good idea now?
Remember the ride at, I can't remember if it's like Krusty Land or something, which is everyone walking off a cliff?
Simpsons. I know what you're. That's not Krusty Land, but
And I know I couldn't remember what thing it was.
I think you're referencing the escalator to nowhere.
maybe
They build like they build this giant escalator that goes nowhere, so it's people just riding up, and then at the end, yeah.
they fall off. Yes, that's what I'm referencing. That's the end result of the affirmation culture.
And frankly, everyone who was a part of it at this point, if you have a shred of self-awareness, has disavowed it. If you look at all the subgroups that spun out of Let's Affirm,
Mm-hmm.
how many of those acceptance movements at this point are dead or disavowed by everyone who had anything to do with them to begin with?
Right. So people 15 minutes into this are like, what the fuck does any of this have to do with the Running Man? The point is, like, we're going to do our jobs and review the movie's craft because there's some good, there's some bad, there's some ugly. But overall, we have to talk about how we got here because no one bothered to have that conversation in the process of getting here. No one who decided to remake anyone who decided to remake the Running Man only decided they wanted to, it was even referred to as a remake of the Schwarzenegger film. It's
Which
not.
isn't.
It's an adaptation of the fucking book.
Yeah.
How culturally illiterate are you? Not you, Robert. You're
I'm aware of what you're saying. Yeah.
like it's that, but that kind of stuff annoys the piss out of me. That's why I don't. If she had come, I probably wouldn't have started this way. I'd just watch football and let you guys talk. But that's why I'm glad Alexis isn't here tonight. She wanted to be, but she's busy with work stuff. But that's my point. Like, there's a much more important conversation to be had about how this movie shouldn't have been remade in the first place, because everybody working on it missed the fucking point every step of the way. If you're going to look at the Running Man in Stephen King's book, you have to look at what he was trying to say about people, and is what he is trying to say and the way he's saying it still resonant in 2025? Kind of is the answer.
The answer's kind of, but The Running Man is also a bleak book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a weird thing to try and like parse out. One, it's been a while since I've read it, but I have read it, and my recall of it is pretty good. So a lot of what goes on in this movie is taken from the book, but it inserts this weird, again, pseudo-revolutionary undertone.
Mm-hmm.
Has a bit where hey, let's go to Maine, and we'll make it dairy in particular because Stephen King. And it's the support that Ben Richards is able to find along the way in the book comes from the severely disenfranchised, who are the let it die or burn it down people.
Right.
Not a group that is trying to organize and fight the system. It's just the people who literally are like, nah, screw all of this.
It's anarchists.
To the extent that they have any sort of political leanings, yes. So, I mean, as far as the plot of this thing, let's hit this real fast.
Sure.
So, Glen Powell is Ben Richards, and he's been blacklisted for being a dissenter to Big Brother.
All right, my son's fucking commentary at the end of this is like, nobody working on this movie understood 1984. My 11-year-old said that.
The vast majority of people these days don't understand 1984.
But you digress.
Indeed. But he's been blacklisted from a few different jobs because, don't you understand, Mark? He's a good guy looking out for his fellow workers. So he reported to the union that there was inadequate radiation shielding. And his 2-year-old daughter is sick with the flu. And she's not doing so great. And he's getting frustrated. And his wife comes back from her job because she's employed.
As a stripper or something like that.
A waitress. The other stuff is implied.
Yeah.
And in desperation, he goes to the network. The network with a big red N. Nebulous network.
Subtlety is for cowards.
Not a specific reference at all.
Buy my album.
So he, neither you or this movie. No subtlety here. So he goes to the network, and his goal is to get on one of the game shows that pays out cash for your participation. Because even if he does the worst on average for any given day, it's still, like $150, give or take. And if you can get on one of the trivia shows or something similar, like decent chance you can get enough money to get his daughter in to get real medication for the flu. So he shows up and he goes through the assessment process, and he is told you're going to be part of the Running Man, which is a show where 3 people are turned loose to try and survive for 30 days.
Which is not right in the book, right? It's not 30 days in the book, is it?
It's something like that. I forget the exact number, but yeah, it's actually the Schwarzenegger movie shortening it to like, a day in the Hunger Games arena.
Mm-hmm.
Was entirely a choice made by the people adapting it there. It actually is longer in the book. I forget exactly. It might be 30 days. It might be a month.
That would be 30 days.
Depending on the month.
Yes, but okay. My point is, the drinker races think about the amount of time he has to be on the run. I assumed it was different in the book for that reason.
No, it's about this. That's about what it is. Again, I'd have to double check, but
okay.
That's much closer than the Arnold version, which is designed as
okay, but I'm not commenting on that. I'm commenting more on the drinker's commentary about the movie was giving him 30 days to survive was way too long and not necessary, and he raised a whole bunch of other issues about it. And my only defense of that is, well, if it's in the book, they're probably just trying to do the best page-to-screen adaptation that they can, even with little details like that.
Yeah, we'll hash that out in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to survive in the world for 30 days. You get paid every day, and what a certain amount, and then however much money you've made at the end of a week doubles. And if you happen to kill police officers or any of the hunters, the network goons coming after you, then you get more money. Nice little bonus for you. And at the end of this, if you survive to the end of the whole thing, you wind up with about $1 billion. But the entire populace can look for you, because if they turn you in, they get paid.
Right.
So you get a little bit of a head start. So he and a couple of others, in the book it's only him and one other guy, if memory serves, so don't quote me on that. But there's 3 of them that are sent out as part of the Running Man, and one of them dies fairly quickly. Ben Richards, he goes to see William H. Macy to try and get, some fake ID, some clothing changes, the whole 9 yards. And William H. Macy goes, man, I really wish you hadn't have signed up for this, because I was going to bring you down here to work with me and give you a job here at my illegal haberdashery. But it would have paid, and alas. So he goes on the run for a bit. He stays at a hotel. He switches cities a few times. He nearly gets caught a couple of times. He escaped with the help of someone who just conveniently is like, I do the underground conspiracy theorist thing. Who sets him up with, okay, there's this guy up in Maine. You go see him, he'll help set you up. So he goes up there, and it's Michael Cera, and
I don't know if he knows he's frozen, but I honestly, with that face that okay, so you were frozen for a minute, and I just thought you were pausing because you said Michael Cera and a part of you died.
Well, that too.
The last of your remaining viable sperm just killed itself.
Not even close. My motility is quite high. Thanks for asking.
Oh, wonderful. I like to know that you're virile.
My joke was that I'm pretty sure the direction given to the actress playing Michael Cera's mother was just play Michael Cera in real life, because he's a crazy person.
What a fetish Edgar Wright has, to watch older women act like Mae Young. I want to watch him die. Put me through a table, Bubba. Ugh.
So Michael Cera tells him, look, my dad fortified this bunker out in the hills. You go hold up there for a couple of weeks and you win the whole thing, and we'll start to, and you, my friend, because despite all the network manipulation to try and make you a villain, a few black kids in the inner city scrawled graffiti, and now you've got a uprising. Yeah. But you, my friend, are the blasting cap, the ignition point for all the fuel that's burning up, all the resentment that exists within America towards those who rule over us.
Revolution in this country lasts an hour, maybe a day, maybe a day. By the second day, anything anyone was ever mad about in this country, mad enough to do anything about it, gone. We have a No Kings protest all around the country. Affected nothing, but I'm sure it made a lot of people feel real good.
The vast majority of group protests are nothing but exercises to make you feel better about yourself. They don't do anything.
It's one of the reasons why I fucking hate this movie. Like, I don't hate the movie for being a movie. I hate the movie because Edgar Wright assumes so much, and he's so wrong.
So the Michael Cera summons the local.
I haven't been able to breathe most of today. I'm deeply cynical.
I understand. So Michael Cera summons the local goons because his dad used to be a cop, but he protested when Omnicorp took over the force. Sorry, whatever that. And then the local cops got mad at him and murdered the now hot dog vendor. So he summons a bunch of them, he kills them, and he says, look, we'll totally get out of here before the hunters show up. And then he gets stabbed. And then Josh Brolin offers Ben Richards a deal like, look, man, this is all TV. Like, this guy's dying. Yeah, sure. But look, shoot that hunter in the head once the camera starts rolling, and then we'll have an exit for you. Just go with the program here. Around the same time, the second runner has died, barbecued by 8-year-olds who were, of course, redhead because Appalachia. So Richards then escapes. There's a big explosion. He declines the offer from Josh Brolin. He tries to get to the bunker, but lo and behold, that section of Maine has been leveled to make room for a housing project. At this point, 2 weeks into all of this, Ben Richards goes, I think I know how the show works. And he hijacks a car, holds a woman at gunpoint. He then bluffs his way onto an airplane. He gets another offer from Josh Brolin, who tells him, by the way, you killed one of those hunters, and they got retribution by killing your wife and child. And we're going to show that to you and then to the public to make you a sympathetic figure. You kill the hunters on the plane, you come in, we give you your own show, you get $5 million a year, $5 million a season. At which point he says, Seinfeld made more. I'm not interested. You have not adjusted for inflation. And he then kills a bunch of people on the plane, and they're like, all right, so you can accept our offer for the new show? And he goes, no, I am a person of integrity, and frankly, I don't know that my family's dead because you've demonstrated an ability and affinity for providing nothing but lies and falsehood via the airwaves.
Thing about this entire movie, I have no reason to believe you. You've demonstrated that you can lie and manipulate footage really easily. Why would I assume anything you say is true? And a better movie would have done something with that.
Indeed.
I'm just happy the movie acknowledged it.
Then Josh Brolin goes, well, you had a shot. Now you get to die in a fiery plane crash. And so they automatically steer the plane towards the network building. It gets shot down because you can't do a 9/11 these days, even though that's how the book ends.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, it's basically a very similar setup to the ending. He gets contacted by the network who say, look, all of our hunters are former runners. They make the best hunters. And we get somebody else to die, so no one actually wins the show. But, you come on, we bring you into that. You make a good living. By the way, your family was killed in a random act of violence, so sorry about that. It's left ambiguous whether or not he was being lied to or not, but it's there. And he gets on the plane, he takes out the pilots, and then, the last shot of the book is him flying the airplane into the network skyscraper. Right into the office where the Josh Brolin character is. Wonderful. Giving him the double deuce the whole way. How I imagine Steve Austin wants to go out.
But not anymore. He's well past all that.
Yeah,
but at the height of the Austin McMahon feud, yes. Right.
He would have flown some. Dude, Vince would have let him fly something into Titan Towers. He would have.
Oh yeah, and then Vince would have fucking kicked out. Everybody else in the fucking Titan Towers is dead. But, Vince would have done our Shawn Michaels.
Vince, he would have emerged from the rubble carrying his Tyrannosaurus skull.
Yes.
Anyway, then the plane gets shot down and we're all left to be sad for a minute, and then the fourth wall gets kind of broken as the guy from earlier goes, so here's how they faked all this. And now it's important that we rise up and revolt because Ben Richards is still out there alive, probably. And it turns out that he is, and he reunites with his family, and then he shows up at the network tower as a violent riot breaks out, and he murders Josh Brolin, and then we roll credits. And God, I hate the ending of this movie more than anything else in this movie. I hate the BS, cowardly, Hollywood noted ending of this piece of crap.
Again, I'll work backwards. It is very much wish fulfillment on Edgar Wright's part. He's like, what if I just show you how bad everything is? Then will you... Here's the thing. The last group of people that were motivated to do what Edgar Wright wants were the January 6 people. They had moose heads on. They were decked out in red, white, and blue. They were, they did not believe that Biden had won the election. Then they went in and took prizes from the White House.
The Capitol building, not the
Capitol building.
Yeah, there was a riot. It wasn't great.
But that's the thing. Like, Edgar Wright's like, hey, all you progressive, liberal, lefty people, don't you hate the fact that we don't have free healthcare? Don't you hate the fact that Donald Trump's the president? Don't you hate what's going on with ICE? Come on. See? Like, come on. And it's... Nope. The last group of people motivated to do anything even close to that were the people who didn't believe Biden won the election because that's what Trump told them. And they are also sheep.
Well, that election was not outside of the norm, but the norm has shifted.
Every fucking election, there's an argument over something regarding the
election. Yeah, I'm well aware. And
also, Bush didn't win in the second term, according to some people, because all the votes got changed from Kerry to Bush. I really don't want to hear it.
Oh no, I remember that one. It was stupid then too.
The electric voting machines that were all rigged for Bush. Anyway,
the issue there was the hanging chads.
No, that was Florida, and that was 2000, and that was Al Gore. Get your rigged election.
Oh, right. The Kerry ones. Look, I forget John Kerry exists because I kind of wish he did.
You should remember that one because that was a Simpsons gag. Where keeps voting and it's like changing.
They used the gag for the McCain-Obama election.
Yeah. So anyway, so that whole ending is Edgar Wright's wish fulfillment that people that he likes will stand up and throw firebombs at people he doesn't like. They won't. Stop already. Your site's not the one with the testosterone. I swear. So with that said, the movie meanders. There's some pacing issues.
This should not have been 2 hours.
Yeah, they needed to either do more with it or cut this down.
Yeah.
That's a big problem I have with it. Also, just because you're dystopian and the world is not a great place doesn't mean it's all ugly and full of trash. We have one aesthetic. It's Escape from New York, and we can't get away from it. Children, that's a movie from the 80s.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like I'm kind of with you. Like, at least the Hunger Games had the common sense to show that yes, some parts of this world are dreary and downtrodden. Some of them aren't.
Yeah, I'm tired of every they
all look the same.
There's no clear reason why it's dystopian or what's dystopian about it. Like, your union's not strong and they didn't protect you when you whistle blew. That's now. That's 2025. What are you talking about? Like, oh no, in the future, the union's on very strong, and when someone whistle blows, he gets blacklisted. It's the future! Are you fucking kidding me? Try that shit now.
Oh no. You mean there's another monopolistic force forming in the tech sphere that's starting to get government contracts? Say it ain't so.
These fucking people have no imagination. You can't do 1984 dystopian future in 2025. You have to do 2050, 2080, 2100. You can't keep doing this.
Here's the problem. Here's the real problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
All these people are convinced that if we don't do it now, there's nothing in 2050. And they're idiots,
Here's
but
the thing,
that's the
Robert.
thought process.
For 100 years, men dreamed about the future. Some saw a nightmare. Some saw global cooling freezing the earth. Some saw food shortages. Some saw the rise of the super criminal. There used to be some imagination in what hellscapes the future would look like. That imagination is gone.
And now it all looks the same.
Yeah. Everything looks like Escape from New York.
Dude, this is not just a problem with the dystopian subgenre.
Mm-hmm.
How we did this to the fantasy genre is beyond me.
Yeah. Yes, where everything looks like a drab hellscape.
No. Not just that, but there's this famous picture that got floated around.
Mm-hmm.
It's 4 different images of the cast from 4 different movies.
Mm-hmm.
Or 4 different shows. It's like Wheel of Time, Willow, Rings of Power, and Witcher.
Oh, and where everybody looks like the fucking...
They all look the same.
I was like, they all look like the spirit people from Snow White, who everyone says looks like a Renaissance fucking acting troupe.
Yeah, like, how did we do this to fantasy where the only thing we can imagine is the same thing as every other fantasy show?
Yeah, that's like my big complaint about The Running Man. There's nothing imaginative about it.
There's nothing, not just not imaginative, there's no personality, there's no style, there's no flair. If I didn't know Edgar Wright directed this and you told me Edgar Wright directed this, I would not believe you.
Yeah, you would say you were that person's a liar. So that's the bad. It's boring. It's poorly paced. It's stupid.
The dialogue is atrocious.
And there's no vision other than the low-hanging fruit dumb one of, hey, liberals, we hate Trump. we hate, like, had they taken a minute and been like, this isn't a television show. This is something that this is beamed into your phones. This is an app. Like, update this a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk about the lack of emotional intelligence. Talk about how social media is killing us. Talk about how the culture is why we have DoorDash Girl. Okay, now you got something. You do none of those things. We're back to, the profession that has given me a career and a livelihood, I don't like it. Because I don't get to do my goofy shit as much as I would like to. That's the real reason, Edgar Wright. I see through you. But Hollywood isn't what I like, and I think everyone should rise up against it. And I don't like the government either. I think we should all live in a communist utopia. Okay, Edgar. Great.
You take a shift in the coal mines first, Edgar. How about that?
Yeah. Nerd. My point is that when did we become like the fucking bullies of in Hollywood? Just wanting to shove nerdy directors into lockers.
I don't want to shove them into a locker. I want them to think for half a second. I do this with everyone who this is one of the ways I know whether or not I can take you seriously whenever you spout off political BS at me. Especially if you happen to lean towards the communist side of things. I say, okay, fine, you're in charge. You have to produce X amount of coal to power the electrical grid that keeps everything working. No one wants to do the job. What do you do?
Yeah. So, before we lose our entire audience, speaking of which, I'm sorry, I can't take the movie seriously when the guy making it is criticizing Hollywood in a dumb way, in no way that hasn't been done before, in a way that makes it interesting in any sort of way.
Yeah.
Except that you're the one that benefits from it. I'm glad this movie isn't doing well. just because I fucking now hate it, right?
I can't express how disappointed I was in this movie. I was excited for this. I generally like Edgar Wright. I thought he was
that's the other thing. I would have expected like a zany kind of an Ant-Man thing. I miss fun Edgar Wright. I miss Hot Fuzz Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Like if you're here's my problem and like why I'm such an ass tonight about this. Because these guys used to just come to Hollywood to tell stories and have fun. Then they all got the fucking panties in a wad over what's happening in Washington. And now every fucking movie has to reflect that. At the cost of, and I wouldn't care, but it's at the cost of their creativity. He's not doing Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead anymore, or Ant-Man for that matter. He's fucking, he's doing what everybody else is doing, and it's boring.
We have to talk a little bit about Edgar Wright here. And I didn't want to say the man's completely lost his mojo, but two things I think have become abundantly clear with Edgar Wright. One, he's definitely a little bit washed. Two, he does not work well in Hollywood. I don't mean making movies. I mean specifically Hollywood. He does not function very well in. I mean, this is the guy who gave us, look, the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy is one of the best unofficial trilogies, maybe the best. If we limit this to unofficial trilogies, that's maybe the best one ever. Like, it's definitely up there. And he was one of the driving creative forces. Like, this is a bit of history that potentially gets whitewashed, especially because of one of the people we're talking about. But if you look at the four primary creative forces that like drove the early stages and rise of the MCU, he was one of them.
Right.
The early creative forces that kind of like had the vision and got that together were Jon Favreau, Joss Whedon, Edgar Wright, and a little bit of Robert Downey Jr. And Kevin Feige knew how to shut up and stay in the corner. But then he thought he was integral to the process when he's the most disposable piece of it. And, well, it went the direction it went. But, dude, Edgar Wright, like, spent a lot of time working on that, and it robbed him of a lot of time. And then they took Ant-Man away.
He's one of these fucking directors who, they won't let me do what I want to do. Yeah, Edgar, because it's still fucking business. And while your neurodivergent, fucking autistic, creative stupidity might be wildly appealing to a lot of people, it doesn't always sell tickets. I hate to be that guy, but I can see why a lot of executives were like, no, nerd, no. Like, knock it off.
So then, he went back to, like, again, out of the mainstream Hollywood studio system. He made Baby Driver, which I didn't care for, but a lot of people did. And what was the last thing he did before this?
I think he did. And it's so funny that I've like this many years later, I was so full of vitriol for this guy because he did the fucking movie with the dancing.
Oh, Last Night in Soho,
which I genuinely enjoyed.
That was it. I recall being iffy on that.
You were, and I was like, me and Ronnie loved it, but it was also like fairly creative, had an aesthetic, a point of view. I think there was some little stupid things at the end that we talked about, and I was like, well, this seems unnecessary. But for the most part, like, I actually do enjoy that movie, and I think he did a great job with it. This is now 5 years later, roughly, and look what's become of our Edgar.
Yeah, 4 years. It was 21, right?
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, kind of move on. Some good things, so the people will be like, you guys just hate movies. All right, nerds.
Hate this movie.
Nerds and TikTokers, girls, the rest of you. Here's something nice I'm going to say about this movie, so I don't have to hear, not that you're listening or it'll matter, but here's nice things I have to say about this movie, so you can say I didn't hate the whole thing. Glen Powell's good.
This movie is a giant waste of him, but
yeah, I was missing Glen Powell from Twister. I really was. He was great in that last year. They didn't give him enough. We talked about that, but but this, you're right. They really wasted him here. But what they did use him for, he's really good. Like, it's a shame Hollywood doesn't make stars anymore because he'd be one. He's handsome.
He'd definitely be up there.
He's handsome.
There's a world where he and Henry Cavill are like on a collision course in terms of like we really want to see them in a movie together.
I was gonna say like Glen Powell and Henry Cavill would be like Tom Cruise, in another Like this
They
generation.
could be like the Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt kind of.
Yeah. That's what I was saying. But he's really good in this. I actually do feel sympathy for him. I genuinely believe he loves his daughter, which helps.
Not so much his wife, but you know.
Yeah. I believe him as a action hero. Like, obviously, I prefer, because I'm 50, I prefer my heroes to be more like Arnie than not. But this is what we're getting now. You know, skinny boys. But he at least looks like a man and can take a punch. That helps. The chick he's in the movie with looks like Zooey Deschanel. I like Zooey Deschanel. That's what I have to say about her. Why can't I just like stuff, jerk?
I'm just asking, why do you like Zooey Deschanel?
Why do you like what you like?
I'm not bringing up what I like. You did.
Oh my god, I hate you. Anyway, so she looked like Zooey Deschanel, so I was like, all right, she's fine.
She reminded me of the neurotic assistant from The Boys more than Zooey Deschanel.
Anyway, so the girl playing Zooey Deschanel face, she's perfectly adequate in the little bit that they give her.
Completely disposable character, could have been shelved.
Speaking of which, what a waste of Lee Pace.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Like, this is one of those things that bothered me. Like, the moment when he does take off his mask, that's supposed to be a moment of recognition. Like, we should all there should have been a deal made about who the first running man was. Like the guy who made it 29 days.
Right. Also, if he's going to take off his mask, he should have had the long, flowing yellow, blonde hair.
No. But
then I would have recognized him immediately. Like, oh look, it's the elf.
No one remembers the Hobbit movies, so no, that wouldn't have worked. But that's supposed to be a big moment, like when we realize the level of extraordinary duplicity going on with the network is, oh no, like this is the guy you said died, and he's a hunter and has been for like 6 seasons in a movie.
Let me say this. Josh Brolin is also great in this. I love watching Josh Brolin act. He's excellent.
Oh yeah, I'm with you there.
But I'll tell you, the writing did him no favors in this way and this way only. It assumes the average viewer knows and appreciates and understands TV speak. Now, wrestling fans do, because we're overly obsessed with how the sausage is made in wrestling. So we learn the carny terms and we learn the TV terms because we want to sound like we're speaking intelligently about a subject matter that we're overly passionate about and a little obsessive.
And actually undereducated on for the most part, but
yeah.
This movie uses TV speak the way most other people these days use therapy speak.
Yeah, and that's kind of my point, because he's doing like, it'll be great for the narrative, it'll be a good bit. He sounds like fucking me, but I'm talking. But like, I'm doing it on a podcast talking about a movie or a TV show. Like, I'm using the language of the thing I'm reviewing. And a little less than that, just because, again, like, my whole like half a personality is, look at me, I'm producer guy. So that's just part of my personality. But most people are not me. I can guarantee you that. Spend an hour with me on TikTok Live. Most people are not me, except for the one guy who took my face. Did I tell you this? Some guy took my face. Some guy screenshotted me scowling, which is not hard because I scowl a lot, and took the screenshot and made it his avatar. And then was commenting in my live.
This is the pool you have chosen to swim in.
Yeah, pool of razors is what it is. Anyway, my point is,
it's that pit in Saw 2 of nothing but syringe needles.
So
that poor Shawnee Smith gets thrown into.
So I accept the fact that I'm a little outside the norm, and most people are not going to talk the way that I do. Gosh, I wish the movie had, because Josh Brolin's doing a whole thing, and it's like, well, that makes sense to me, and I'm enjoying this. But is the rest of the audience really with him?
Probably not.
Do they get that he's doing TV speak? Do they care? And this is where one of those things where, like, you wouldn't do that. It's not believable. Like, he's doing it because Edgar Wright is criticizing. This is the one point of view the movie has. Edgar Wright is criticizing the fantasy, the falseness, the lying of television. Who gives a fuck? Grow up, child. But that's what he's doing. And he's doing it by having Josh Brolin TV speak all of his dialogue so that we, the audience, are signaled this is bad. Everything he's saying is bad. This is why we should, this is why we should firebomb him in his studio. And it took me out of the movie every single time. Part of the reason why, like, that last act is agonizing to me is because I have to listen to Josh Brolin TV speak at Ben Richards, who's supposed to be playing a human. And you sound like Paul Heyman on fucking Quaaludes. Knock it off. In that moment, he's not doing it'll be great for the bit. Do it. He's doing you got to do like I'm gonna kill your family. This is what you need to be doing. Don't be an asshole. There's no way getting out of this, Ben. The world sucks. You suck. We all suck. Do it or we'll kill you. Like, be more direct. Be evil. Don't be TV guy.
How is it that in 30 years, or more, actually 40 years at this point, give or take, we've not been able to effectively iterate or build on John Carpenter's They Live and the guy going, what's so wrong about selling out? We all do it every day.
Jason Newsted famously said when people were criticizing Metallica that they had sold out, he was like, you're absolutely right. We sold out every single arena we played. Anyway, your thoughts?
There's a world of difference between selling out and buying in. And
I don't want to buy anything bought sold.
This movie was a wild disappointment to me. I really had expectations for it, and everything about it failed. Everything about it failed to meet them.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Brolin tries, God bless him. Glen Powell is wasted, and I don't mean the good kind of wasted. His talent is wasted in this endeavor. It's a nothing movie. It's a nothing bit of commentary. It has the most cowardly ending possible. And I really can't stress enough how much I hated that whole ending. Felt like a studio note, and I don't think the movie's smart enough to make that be a meta point of commentary. They're like, yeah, we were going for this bleak ending. Would have been great, actually. Like, the Ben Richards chooses, instead of buying into the corporate narrative, to like, you know what? I would rather die and have my integrity and just make sure my family gets paid. Like, we could have just gone with that, but no.
You know what the real tragedy of this movie is? Everybody who has talent, has talent enough to make art that criticizes the culture will soon be gone, and they didn't bring anybody up who's able to do it, and the generation behind them doesn't like movies.
You're not wrong.
Speaking of bleak endings, that just occurred to me.
No, you are not at all wrong. Like, there's been a fundamental assumption in the entertainment world that the structure in place was going to, maybe change, with the scaffolding, the bones, the architecture would maintain, and everything about this is still going to appeal. Not just to, as a form of entertainment, but that what we're doing is going to inspire more people to try and get into this on the business side of things and perpetuate the system. And then the Paul brothers and YouTube just kind of broke that.
If I go on YouTube right now, first 20 videos I see are someone's, and I'm one of them. You won't see mine because nobody likes my stuff and no one views it. So, but like people who've actually made a success of doing this, all AI either covers or all AI songs, like I teased you with last week.
The other, like YouTube, bizarrely, has now entered a point where there's going to be two things on YouTube, two like broad streams of content on YouTube. There's going to be AI shorts, And there's going to be what YouTube is trying to pass off as let's turn into Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because YouTube Red was such a resounding success. That's what YouTube's trying to do. We're either pushing crappy AI generated shorts until the AI bubble bursts, and boy, is that going to be calamitous. And I mean seriously calamitous.
Mm-hmm.
You don't understand how much is leveraged by that stuff anyway. Or YouTube trying to keep their bizarre monetization margins, but telling everyone that's on the platform, hey, why don't you produce high quality stuff like a movie or a TV show like Mr. Beast? And everything that was originally about YouTube in terms of broadcast yourself, make videos about what you find interesting, and you'll find an audience. And it's not going to be a huge audience, maybe, but it'll be real. That's going away. And the other giant problem with YouTube, this is a problem with like the entire social media landscape because the YouTube kind of doubles as that at the moment, is there's not actually a competitor. YouTube operates in from a monopolistic perspective where there's not another viable video sharing platform. And we kind of need one just for the health of the ecosystem.
So back to the movie.
Yeah, this movie sucks. I really wish I had something positive, something legitimately positive to say about it. But it is narratively meandering and cowardly. It is boring. It assumes a bunch of things not in evidence.
It is a new example of an old Hollywood that doesn't really relate with people anymore.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Everything about this is disconnected from the audience it's trying to appeal to.
Well, I'm just, the more we talk about it, the more I think about like the people in Hollywood who are successfully making art are so disconnected from the rest of the world, and it used to not matter. Now it does.
Yeah.
Jesse and I talked about Jonathan Lynn last night, and we talked about Clue. We talked about My Cousin Vinny and Trial and Error, and specifically with Trial and Error, one of the things that came up in that conversation was this was 1997, and it was at it was in the death throes of the mid-budget comedy.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about a bunch.
We've talked about the death of mid-budget movies, but really the loss of comedy and comedy-centered films has been a giant blow to the cinematic experience and to the movie ecosystem. It used to be
boomers went to Hollywood, made movies for their contemporary boomers. Their boomers had kids. Things were marketed towards kids, and things thrived. Those same people, and I said this a couple of minutes ago, I'll say it again, those same people are still in Hollywood, still making movies for boomers, but they didn't raise anybody up to do what they do competently, as evidenced by the falling apart of every IP. And then there's no audience.
Not just as evidenced by the falling apart of IP, but as evidenced by the reliance on it to begin with.
Well, yeah, and that's where I was starting to go with this, just so people understand what I'm actually trying to say. The phrase "there's not a new idea in Hollywood" gets bandied around a lot and a little too loosely for my liking. But right now, it's kind of the stand-in for everybody in working in Hollywood has the same idea.
Hey, Mark, they released the trailer for the live-action Moana.
I don't want to watch that.
A live-action version of a movie that's less than 10 years old, who's an animated movie that's less than 10 years old, whose animated sequel came out last year.
Yeah, I know. But that's
this is where we are.
But that's not even what I mean by... So boomers were raised a certain way, they believed a certain way, and they made movies reflecting those beliefs. And what people don't really understand is that the culture reflected the mentality of most boomers for a very long time. I hate to tell you, but the boomers and then slightly less Gen X, and then after that it kind of falls apart, had a unifying culture.
There was a lot of shared cultural overlap.
Right.
up through Gen X.
And there were ideas, more specifically, there were ideas that were shared between both of those generations. That's gone. We're so fractured now, and we're so fractured and so like emotionally illiterate that you don't.
Millennials have almost nothing in common with Gen Z, and
Right.
Gen Z has almost nothing in common with Gen Alpha. God help you if you try to get Gen Alpha and Millennials to talk to each other.
So my point with that is that we are watching in real time right now in this podcast the death of Hollywood via the shared idea. The ideas they presently have don't resonate with anybody, or if they do, it's it's the boomers that are left, and they're dying shortly.
I mean, the fact that a painfully generic, mostly competent piece of slop like Predator Badlands gets the praise that it does from the people that saw it.
I put up the TikTok review of that today. 5 comments, roughly. I liked it. What are you talking about?
All of which were just nothing but glowing praise for generic, family-friendly, sci-fi, science fantasy adventure that has nothing to say, nothing to do, and everything about it is utterly interchangeable with anything else.
Hang on 1 second. Let me bring it up real quick. And then we really got to move on. But my point is, like,
look, man, God bless you if you enjoyed it. I'm not here to say that you are terrible. I'm just saying,
I don't care nearly enough.
I'm just saying, like, this is where we are, where that's getting a boatload of praise.
So in the TikTok, I talked about the narrative that Andre had talked about on Midnight's Edge.
That's a movie you didn't even watch.
Scouterson. I never heard that narrative. That movie was awesome. Epic Kid 555. The movie was awesome as hell. I
have started to steal your phrase. Oh, so you banged your action figures together. Good job.
That wasn't what I heard at all. What I overwhelmingly heard was the disappointment in the look they gave the Predator. He looks nothing like they're supposed to look, but apparently there is an explanation for it in the film. Wonderful. All right. I'm going to give you the last word here to kind of sum all this up. I've basically been saying for the last couple of minutes that my takeaway from this film was this realization that everybody currently working in Hollywood that had any competency in making films hasn't really aged, evolved. They've gotten angrier. They're less patient, but they're all making the same movies, making the same points. And it has no connection to most of the world that it's intended to. Say something about that. I gotta go to the bathroom.
And it's only leading to the death of the, theatrical experience in the box office. I mean, this October, last month, was the worst box office October in 27 years, minus literally 2020. You hit a 30-year low, guys. Can we maybe have some self-assessment here? Disney is just burning through money, and they're going to wind up with a couple of hits by the time the year's over, mostly because Zootopia is going to do probably well, and Avatar is going to do well, despite no one actually caring about it. And I'm going to have to... The Avatar thing is just bizarre to me. But... yeah, the fact that, like, the only directors right now that I think have any decent vision and any ability to, like, draw based on their name, a few of them just vociferously eschew the traditional Hollywood system. They eschew big IP attachment. They're just like, no, I know what I want to do. I know what I want to make, and I'm happy to just make that. And if people like it, then great. If people don't, I don't care. And the number of people who know how to, like, get films made in Hollywood, especially like the big ones, are either drowned in IP slop or just enamored of this notion that they're the last angry man willing to speak truth to power.
Can I do the money now?
What money?
Fair.
We're in the money. We're in the money.
Alrighty. Well, that was fun. That conversation was more interesting than anything that we would have said about the movie had Alexis been here. Just want you to know that.
Probably true.
My TikTok on this is going to be amazing.
Indeed.
Alrighty. Right.
On a budget of.
Sorry.
You're good.
On a budget of 110 million Marvel monies.
Eesh. No. That's half a Marvel. We can't make the joke that $100 million is a Marvel budget anymore when Marvel spends $200 million per movie these days.
That's fair. On a budget of a half a Marvel movie, this thing has made $27.7 million.
Ooh. This is where we would play the, atomic bomb going off, but no.
Yeah. As of November 16th, 2025, The Running Man has grossed $16.5 million in the U.S. and Canada, and $11.2 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $27.7 million. In the U.S. and Canada, The Running Man was released alongside Now You See Me, Now You Don't. And
I can't begin to express my personal apathy and loathing for the Now You See Me franchise.
Yeah, I had to do research on it to see what it actually was, because I know I'd heard that before, but I'm like, why is it called Now You See Me, Now You Don't? Because it was Now You See Me, Now You See Me Too.
Yeah, and then now it's Now You See Me. I hate it. I hate everything about it.
Yep. And Keeper, and was projected to gross 23 to 25 million in its opening weekend. The film made 1.9 million on Thursday night box office previews and went on to debut 16.5 million in its opening weekend, finishing second at the box office between Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Hey, look at our CGI magic. Isn't it just great? No, go piss up a rope.
So, as you can see, Lionsgate finally had a hit on its hands, kind of. Now You See Me, Now You Don't was the #1 movie of the weekend. The Running Man was the #2 movie of the weekend. Paramount must be so sad. Predator Badlands fell from 1 to 3, Regretting You 2 to 4, Black Phone 3 to 5. Keeper, which I even seeing all over my TikTok, debuted at 6.
Hey, please pretend that Tatiana Maslany is all that good. I kid. Like, she's not bad. The fact that she went from I'm going to be She-Hulk and make all the Marvel movies to indie horror is my refuge. That's the career trajectory.
She's not to blame for what happened with She-Hulk, and everyone jumping on her is really unfair.
She didn't. Okay. If we really want to have this particular moment of conversation, she is not to blame with what happened to She-Hulk. That's very true. There was a lot of points of failure there. Her PR tour for it happened to be one of them. Her actual acting is fine.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Kind of like with Renee, take 2. Kind of like with Rachel
Zegler.
Thank you, Zegler. When your people are saying, go say the following, you go say the following and you try to do it in a funny and engaging and cute way. It's why I don't join with the rest of you jackals in beating up that girl when she was handed things to say and she said them in a way that she thought made her sound funny and cute. Now, everything else she does, I'm fine with. Like, getting on social media and wishing death on people, she deserves what she gets. But the press store stuff that everyone, weird, that everyone makes fun of her for, I think you're all really terrible people. Well, the stuff that Tatiana Maslany said about She-Hulk was stuff given to her to say, and she was doing a job.
And, okay, but if I may rebut briefly.
You may rebut briefly.
The fact
Enjoy your rebuts. I like to squeeze your rebuts.
The fact that the same PR team sent both her and Brie Larson out in front of the firing squad without realizing it, and then did it again and again and again. Like, at some point, Tatiana Maslany should have looked at those talking points, looked at the PR people, and said, Didn't you do this to Brie Larson and gone, no?
You're assuming she's a lot more with it than that.
Okay, at which point your own ignorance and mismanagement of your own career is on your own head.
Here's the thing. You're also forgetting when this takes place. You're looking back on it with 2025 eyes. The world won't change for a few years. It's still becoming aggravated. It hasn't hit maximum aggravation yet. So if Tatiana Maslany now goes around going, aren't men terrible? Don't I look like myself? Okay, point Robert. At the time that that's happening, the world still thinks this stuff is good.
Okay, then allow me to point out that if your big thing is you and Brie Larson going around crying that you were cut from the final edit of Deadpool and Wolverine, boy, is that on you.
Okay, didn't know that. Point to you. Small point.
Yeah. Both that was a thing. Like, and her complaint was, I was paid. Like, she showed up and filmed scenes. Both she and Brie Larson did film some stuff.
Yeah.
They were paid for their time. And then their material was cut, and they went, shouldn't we sue to get in the movie because we filmed for it?
No, that's not how Hollywood works. Why am I telling you that?
This is where we are. You
Like-
were compensated for your time. If he hadn't paid you for your filming days, then you'd have a complaint. You were. They decided your material wasn't going to make the final cut. That's
If we had-
Hollywood, baby, as the
if we
phrase
had-
goes.
Shut up, you goon. That's Hollywood, baby. Leave her alone, the poor dear.
Just saying, you want to introduce that into the lexicon.
So, if we had like a Hollywood contract lawyer here, I'm sure they would say, you are robbing my clients. This would be my defense if I'm assuming I know anything about the law. Which I don't. I'm not a lawyer. I'm a therapist. Let's pretend. I assume the argument would go something like, you are preventing my clients from receiving due compensation by not including them in the final cut, which they would get upon release, depending on how much the movie makes. Except that that's a sticky widget, because then every actor from the beginning of time could make that same exact argument.
Yeah, again, there's no argument for it. It's just them whining.
Well, they shouldn't have whined in public. Anyway.
And no, you really shouldn't. And then, again, she got some goodwill back for the monkey because she's good in it. And now she's doing this because, again, she's actually got a little bit of a knack for this, indie horror stuff. But you just know she'd really rather be making Marvel money.
Well, I mean, I don't think she wants people to hate her. And what she did got her hated, and I'm sure she'd like it to stop.
I don't know. At this point, the feedback loop is almost inverted for some of the way some people in Hollywood behave. I'm convinced that they actually do feed on the hatred, because otherwise, at some point, you would have said, no, this isn't working.
I can't diagnose this person with absentia.
The number of people in Hollywood still operating under any publicity is good publicity needs to be studied, because that's not the case anymore.
Nuremberg dropped from 5 to 7. Sarah's Oil dropped from 4 to 8. Begonia dropped from 6 to 9. Chainsaw Man, the movie. Resi Arc dropped from 7 to 10. Wicked, I guess, got re-released back in theaters. And that was number 11. Yeesh. Die My Love dropped from 8 to 12. And Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere's 9 to 13. Tron, 10 to 14. One Battle After Another, 13 to 15. Sentimental Value, 20 to 16. Stitch, Head, 14 to 17. Demon Slayer went up 19 to 18. And Roofman fell from 17 to 19. And
well, you mentioned the Sentimental Value. That got its wide release, so it bumped up a lot.
Okay. Back to the Future is currently in theaters for its 40th anniversary. Other debuts this weekend: King Ivory, The Carpenter's Son, Muzzle, City of Wolves, Arco, Cera, Rebuilding, Tapawingo. There's a re-release of something called The Business of Fancy Dancing. Yes,
How
sir.
have you not seen that? That sounds right up your alley.
Shut up. Stop calling me gay.
I didn't call you gay.
What are you, one of these people on TikTok?
Why in the world would I bring up your sexuality?
So I went on TikTok Live on Sunday, and I did commentary for the Madrid game between the Commanders and the Dolphins.
Okay.
And Santa right?
Okay.
A lot of remarks that I'm clearly gay, which my girlfriend, who was behind me the entire time, thought was so funny. She started making gay jokes at me in my
I'm sure
TikTok
that
live.
helped.
Yeah, oh yeah, she was like instigating people. I mean, then there's the usual TikTok garbage, you know, like, will you repeat this? So I had my son, every time I got like a TikTok, a stupid internet thing come up, will you do this? Whatever. I had my son come over, and if I didn't understand it, I was like, you have to translate this for me. He was like, oh, okay. So he's really, really good because he's 11 at translating stupid internet stuff.
Yeah.
And so he would tell me what things meant. He explained 6-7 to me. The whole thing.
There's no explanation for it. It's just a stupid internet meme.
So he kept coming on camera and like, okay, that's what this is. So whenever somebody would say, like, will you say, I would call him over because I refused to do it.
Good policy.
This caused my girlfriend to then shout boomer at me all morning. You're such a boomer, I was told. Kept saying I'm Gen X. I'm born 76. She's like, but you act like a boomer. Yes, because I will not sink to the depths of garbage internet culture. I apparently am a 80-year-old man.
Not playing into people fetishizing internet culture is, in fact, not a boomer thing. Dude, here's the problem with the rising generation when it comes to this stuff. You and I were raised in an era when internet safety and the way we behaved on it was actually like a thing that we were taught.
Yeah.
And now that's not a thing. It's just assumed everything about me is everywhere all the time, so I will behave like a buffoon. And you and I came up like, maybe you shouldn't just start making explicit conversation with any random person on the internet.
There was something else I wanted to share with you really quick. And then I let you talk, and then I fucking lost it, so it doesn't matter.
You were talking about how you're not a boomer, and your girlfriend insists that you are because you don't want to descend into the depths of depravity that exist on the internet.
Yeah, it'll come to me. So
okay.
So anyway,
so worldwide box office. If we're gonna finish out the segment,
I swear to God, I thought we were done. I am off my game tonight. Probably the lack of oxygen.
That'll do it.
Alrighty. Worldwide box office.
Very little movement.
Yeah. Ninja, Lilo and Stitch, a Minecraft movie, Jurassic World Rebirth, Demon Slayer, How to Train Your Dragon, F1, Superman, Mission Impossible, and The Fantastic Four. So no movement at all.
So do me a favor and scroll down. We need to find Predator Badlands for a sec. Because I must poke this bear now.
Predator Badlands, comfortably sitting at 136 million between The Ballerina and Mickey 17.
Okay. I have been informed reliably that this movie is going to be fine. Allow me, dear people, to once again do movie math for you. $105 million budget. 55 to 60 million in print and advertising. Gives you a total spent on this thing of 165 to 170. Right? With me so far?
Mm-hmm.
You have to double that at the box office to start being profitable. So this thing needs 200, 250? Call it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, maybe more. If you double 160, you're actually like 320. So you need north of 250 million, probably around 3 to really feel comfortable if you had to sign this off on a balance sheet. After 2 weeks, you have not beat Dogman. Guys, you can like this movie all you want. I understand why you do. But there is a mathematical equation here because real money was spent on this. If you can't get to 250, at which point you have to do better than Weapons. Tell you what, let's say Final Destination Bloodlines. That's a decent mark. That's 315.
Mm-hmm.
You have to do better than Final Destination Bloodlines before anyone's really comfortable signing off on maybe doing another one of these, because money and math. Your vibes don't matter. Can't even beat Dogman after 2 weeks. I mean, it'll get to 220 probably.
I don't know.
It's not going to get where it needs to, though. Again, you need 250 to 3.
Yeah, I don't know. We got a fairly busy season ahead of us. We got Wicked comes out this weekend.
The only saving grace potentially for Badlands, as far as like maybe having legs,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that there's nothing else that's going to take up oxygen. It's more that there's nothing that is doing what it's doing until like what, Avatar?
Yeah.
So it in its specific little niche, it's unopposed for a little bit. The problem is, again, there's already being diminishing returns, because of course there are, and then on top of that, because a lot of it skews family friendly, you are gonna, like, Zootopia is gonna take a bigger bite out of this than it should take out of a Predator movie. And take that for whatever it's worth.
That's the thing. Yeah, the Drinker said it in one of his videos. I don't know if it was Badlands or The Running Man, but he did mention, he was like, oh, it was there was a recent video he did about another like culture thing, and it was basically the same conclusion we've all come to about a zillion times now, and that is most people will just wait for the stuff to go on streaming, and they won't have to wait long.
Yeah.
So it's like, if people went to the movies the weekend that Badlands came out, and then no one's like, here's the other thing that's come up recently, and I never thought about it because, like, I have very expressly said this is my forum for talking about movies, and I do not care to talk about them outside of with my kids at any other time with anyone else. Like when I would go into work, especially when I worked in intake at the jail, I would have deputies walk over to me and they were like, "Oh, did you see the new thing?" Because I was a good person to ask, because I probably did. Yeah. And I would engage in the conversation because I wanted to be a friendly coworker, but I don't really enjoy that sort of thing. I talk to you because you have really interesting opinions, even if I don't agree with them. I like talking to Jesse. There's a couple of other guys I like talking to on here. Especially when it comes to new movies, why settle for random riffraff conversation when I can come here and have good conversation with you? So I don't talk about this stuff.
You have been spoiled from eating the junk food conversation around cinema by eating the filet mignon of
That
cinema
is correct.
conversation. I've ruined you.
I will eat you now, and I will eat you forever.
That is a terrifying thought.
So anyway, I've never participated on Reddit. Like, I still don't totally get how Reddit works.
Reddit's weird. You're better off not.
My point is, they always bring up like online discourse as a marker for the success of anything. And like, I remember when I was about 20 years ago now, before the third Matrix movie came out.
That year between Revelation and Revolution, or the other way around.
Reloaded.
Whichever way it was. Reloaded. Right.
Yeah. I was at Disney with my friends. I was still living in New York at the time, and we were talking about like how the second movie ended and how the third one would go. And we were coming up with all these fan theories. That's the phrase I was looking for. We were coming up with all these fan theories about how, like, why Neo suddenly had the powers that he had, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And we were all wrong.
Of course.
Which doesn't really matter. That's not the point of the story. The point of the story is we were actively engaged with the media enough that we participated in speculation. And for the last 20 years of the internet existing, there's been a culture of that. People write fan fiction, they go on boards, they argue about the stuff. No, that's never really appealed to me. I was happy to do it with my friends while waiting to get on the go-karts at Disney World. But outside of that, I don't do that sort of thing. But obviously many people do. And one of the things that the drinker keeps bringing up is that a lot of the stuff that's getting produced now has no online discourse.
It exists in a weird subspace, a lot of the online discourse these days, where you're not actually like engaging in discourse. For the most part, what you're doing is dopamine farming to get.
Oh, that was it. Hang on. The other thing I had, Jonas, this is what I was trying to say before and I forgot it. Jonas pointed this out to me because Erica had noticed, because Erica goes live. She sings on her lives and she does battles, and she very much participates in the TikTok live culture. I watch football and I talk about it. That's what I do. And I get harassed endlessly. She doesn't. And she was remarking about that. She was like, I have never been harassed nearly as much as you do. Like, oh my God, I can't believe it. I mean, like, people come in here. And I looked over at Jonas and I said, Jonas, you're really good about interpreting internet culture. Why? Why am I being harassed? And Erica isn't being harassed. We're both middle age. I mean, she's a woman, I'm a guy, but they harass plenty of other women, so why not Erica? And he was like, well, there's a trend happening on TikTok right now. I'm like, what's that? It's like rage baiting old people. So that you have 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute of some asshole old man being rage baited by online comments, and they can then farm, and so it's called, I think he said it was like clip farming. They want to provoke you so that you'll do something funny on camera and they can share that around.
Yeah, then they take that clip and they share it. Yeah, that's the thing.
That's what he was talking about. And which is, on the one hand, I give him nothing. On the other hand, I lean into it, but in that like pompous way that I can be at times. Oh, is that what we're doing? That kind of a thing.
You make it so theatrical that it's impossible to ignore that you're aware of it.
Right. I'm defeating them by leaning into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so dopamine farming, go.
To the extent that there's online discourse, it exists in two forms these days around most movies. Not all, but most. And the death of the MCU really kind of did kill this off. You react positively or negatively on something like Instagram, Twitter, etc. To get people to react to you positively, so you get a bunch of likes that don't actually, and you don't say anything super insightful or anything. You're just like, hey, I like thing. And if you're talking about a current thing that other people like, they will like. And then the algorithm will boost you. You'll get more likes and you'll feel good. So you start dopamine farming. It's cheap dopamine hits.
Yeah.
It's not actually caring. Or you actually do engage with a deeply neurotic subset of people who enjoy it, and you just start spiraling each other's autism triggers. And it's weird.
I once saw a spiraling autism trigger open up for Metallica in 1989 at the Nassau Coliseum.
Yeah, I used that line or a variation of it not too long ago.
Did you really?
Someone misspelled reek. They were talking about wreaking havoc.
Yeah.
Instead of WREAK, it was REEK.
Mm-hmm.
So, and wreaking havoc, like reeking, has a very different.
Yeah, PU.
So I said, I apologize for being pedantic and correcting you, but you mean reeking, WR, like wrecking, reeking, not reeking as in stench. Reeking as in stench was my high school garage band, Wreaking Havoc.
Nice.
It amused me. I'll take that these days.
Alrighty. Well, with that conversation out of the way,
Speaking of reeking,
let's move on to the critical review.
Are you ready? No! I said, are you ready?
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So my dad's never going to listen to this review because we're too negative. I just want you to know that.
I don't care what your father chooses to spend his time listening to.
Also, are we really doing reviews anymore? We're just kind of like, we come on here and there's like the slightest hint of a review, and then really it's just you and me complaining about the culture and people.
You know, when there are movies worth reviewing, we do in fact review the movies. When we are just here because the schedule demands we're here, we fill time however we are best inclined to fill time on any given night.
Well, that's the thing. At least once a week, I look at you and I go, Robert, I have thoughts. And you go, Mark, I have thoughts. And then we fire hose the thoughts at each other for 2 hours.
That's about the size of it, yeah. Well, again, like, what else is there to talk about this piece of crap movie?
Alrighty. 65% on the tomato meter.
Please tell me that goes down.
Top
That
critics,
should be lower.
Top critics dropped to 54, still fresh. All
Curious how they got there,
75.
but we'll find out.
All audiences is 76. Verified audiences.
Dude,
79.
if you are, you have to be able to read the audience meter properly. Like, if the people who bother reviewing movies on Rotten Tomatoes, if you're in the 70s, you're a big failure.
Spirited.
No.
Spiritedly sprinting
No.
through grim source material. Edgar Wright's The Running Man doesn't live up to the director's high bar for inventive
True.
action extravaganzas, but maintains a slick stride.
No. This thing falters real hard in the middle.
Oh my god.
And then face plants the ending.
Nick Johnston of Vanyaland. By no means is The Running Man the best work of Wright's career. No shit, Sherlock. Suffering from the fits and starts of the Chase movie, but the problem with it mostly stemmed from the director trying to preserve King's text.
There's definitely something to be said for how you should have adapted this, and a good adaptation is about more the spirit than the literality of what's going on.
This dumb bitch, Candace McMillan of Seattle Refined.
Hey, you said it, not me.
The Running Man, you'll say it after I read this. The
Okay.
Running Man is cheap and glossy as a
It's not
director who has
glossy.
tackled the gamut from solemn action dramas to
No.
satire comedies.
There's no,
Wright lands The Running Man closer to Hot Fuzz
not even close.
than Baby Driver, but it is against our better judgment still terribly fun.
Against my better judgment, you still have a job. Like, everything about that's wrong. This is not closer to Hot Fuzz than Baby Driver.
Sarah Vincent of Sarah G. Vincent Reviews. Wright's film offers action with incisive sociopolitical comment.
No.
What sociopolitical commentary?
What's incisive about it?
But in the final act, loses momentum in trying to find a resolution that lives up to everything that came before.
One, the ending does suck, but it's not because it can't live up to what came before. It's because what came before was a piss poor setup. There's a reason that there's a degree of like demented catharsis in Ben Richards in the book flying a plane into a building. None of that is present here.
Rosa Parra of the Latino Slant.
Yeah, leave that one alone.
The Running Man falls short of delivering a truly exciting action thriller. Instead, it presents a straightforward underdog story with action sequences sprinkled with random, ineffective jokes.
Wow. You couldn't even be bothered to rewrite the press release they gave you.
It's amazing what passes for criticism. Speaking of passing, Stephanie Zacharik of Time Magazine, top critic. The Running Man is just a slog.
Wow, insightful.
Let's see. Mark Kermode of Kermode and Mayo's Take, YouTube. Top critic. Best in the business. Gets paid for this. Gets to be on Rotten Tomatoes. Has a huge following. It's a rump.
I really want you to play in traffic.
Jeffrey Harris for 401mania.com. The movie is not altogether terrible, but it ultimately unravels with a rough third act and a clunky ending that looks like it was torn apart and later sewn back together for reshoots and focus groups.
He is entirely correct about that.
Yeah, he fucking hit it out of the park on that one. Mama loves Mambo.
Amy Nicholson was down there somewhere.
Yeah, I see her. I was seeing if there's anybody above her. Amy Nicholson, Los Angeles Times critic. Instead of a funhouse mirror of what could be, it's merely a smudged reflection of what is.
You people. I swear you can't get out of your own way when you look around the current world and just think everything is terrible. I'm not saying it's great. I'm saying the number of people just throwing up their hands in the air about our democracy and everything's falling apart, like, it's not nearly as bad as you're allowing yourself to be sucked into thinking.
I do not only pick on black women. Najir Chambers of Big Gold Belt Media.
What an intro to that.
Fast, flashy, and fearlessly entertaining.
No, and no.
This is the kind of sci-fi adventure that proves popcorn cinema can still have a pulse.
No. I've seen popcorn cinema that's intelligent and actually like has a little bit of something to say and does some subtext while still being entertaining, and this is none of those.
Gene Kaplan's vagina is frozen. From Kaplan versus Kaplan.
I don't know how you know that, but okay.
It's apparent. It's a wild ride and very entertaining, albeit brutal expose of our human thirst for blood and death.
No.
Lady, the UFC exists for the last 20 years. Get a hold of yourself.
Look, if you want to understand how depraved a segment of the human population is about this stuff, watch Power Slap. I mean, don't. It's terrible, but, you know. Oh no, one of the characters referenced the Roman Colosseum. I get to talk about humanity's bloodlust. No, you don't. Go chew on some more dirt.
Jack Martin of Film Theater. The Running Man sees Edgar Wright bring his trademark energetic style to a more faithful version of Stephen King's novel that, despite an uneven script and an exhausting feeling one gets from simply enduring parts of it, remains a fun enough watch.
There is no energetic style here. It's actually my biggest gripe. Like, again, nothing about this reads like an Edgar Wright movie. Nothing.
Scott Mendelson, the only adult in the room, of the Outside Scoop Substack. The faithful to a fault adaptation of Stephen King's novel trades American Gladiators for Most Dangerous Game, but now feels quaint in an America that was stupid enough to elect its favorite psychopathic game show host as president twice. Oh, Scott. Let's go for a walk, Scott.
Dude, opt out of everything.
Local park bench, Travis Hobson of Punch Drunk Critics.
He probably enjoys being sat on.
Probably. Well, it's frantic energy and balls-to-the-wall performance by Glen Powell entertaining as hell.
No, who thinks this has that much energy?
You have the emotional maturity of a 6-year-old. It doesn't feel like it will hold the same long-lasting appeal as its predecessor.
Its predecessor doesn't even have really long-lasting appeal outside of bizarre nostalgia. Look, if you like the Schwarzenegger Running Man, I think it's crap, but Godspeed and party on. But its enduring legacy, put heavy air quotes around that, again, is this weird 80s nostalgia.
It is not even Schwarzenegger's best film.
It's not in his top 20. It's like, okay, it's better than Hercules in New York, but like, it's not better than Raw Deal, and I don't hold that in high esteem.
Ooh, what you said. Robbie Collin of Daily Telegraph, UK top critic. He hates everything. It's perhaps Wright's first feature to feel, in a positive way, like the work of a director for hire. Every flourish and trick here isn't in service of a singular creative vision so much as a great rumbling excitement machine.
No. Where's the excitement?
Robbie Collin has just given up.
Dude, I hope the check cleared for you to suck this thing off like that, my man.
Speaking of sucking things off, Rachel Leichman of the Mary Sue, Rachel Leichman. The Running Man harkens back to the Harrison Ford The Running Man harkens back to the Harrison Ford days when you always knew you were in for a good time with one of his action movies. And I've missed this kind of action film. Ma'am, you are 12 years old.
Watch this, then go watch Raiders and tell me they're in any way comparable.
She probably can, but she's a dumbass.
I miss well thought out, well constructed, lovingly made action movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I miss that genre of filmmaking.
Liz Shannon Miller is in her first year of college. At consequence, top critic. The Running Man offers a more anarchic message than we might be used to from standard Hollywood blockbusters.
We're pretending Hollywood blockbusters haven't been promoting anarchy for now. What are we doing here?
But that message gets drowned out, leaving behind a loud, violent romp that's almost a bit too on the nose for these loud, violent times of ours. Dude, what the fuck happened in this country that this gets called like violent in a world where Kill Bill 1 and 2 exist?
Look, there's a bunch of people who might finally go see those movies because Tarantino's releasing the 4-hour cut that's the whole bloody affair. They'll leave. They can't handle it.
They will not get past the Crazy 88 or whatever the fuck they're called.
Yeah, no, they won't get like. I don't know. When did everyone become so
pussy?
There's no sex and no violence in movies anymore. Like, so anytime there's a hint of them, like, oh no, Challengers is salacious. No, it's not.
Speaking of frozen vaginas,
this is no. The Running Man is violent.
Challengers was salacious if you're really into guy on guy. If you're not, then it isn't.
Even then.
I'd like to see you two spaghetti strands make out. Wonderful. Here we go.
Then cut away. Like, that's not as far as that goes.
Yeah, true. He's got a new movie coming out.
Who?
Luca Guadagnino.
I don't care.
I'm curious to see what his follow-up to Challenges is, given what happened with that movie. So, but I haven't really. But I haven't really heard anything about it. So who knows?
He's gonna descend into chaos like Yorgos Lanthimos. Because we really need another one of those running around.
Here's my film. It's just me banging action figures together on my head.
And at some point, my penis will be involved.
Just banging it. It's my penis. Bad penis. Bad.
Then Dakota Johnson and Emma Stone come over and insult me for 20 minutes to satisfy my humiliation fetish.
Well, satisfy my humiliation fetish is the phrase that pays here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network.
In more ways than one.
And so that is the end of our show.
You can't handle it when I do it.
I'm hot and sweaty. My kidneys hurt, and I want to go to bed. Robert?
I'm not hot and sweaty. My kidneys don't hurt. I am desperately hungry. I cover mixed martial arts and professional wrestling over at 411 Mania, WWE SmackDown on Fridays, UFC events on Saturdays. Saturday was UFC 322. Islam Makhachev became the welterweight champion in a fight that, if you appreciate some of what was going on, was not boring, but certainly wasn't terribly exciting. Valentina Shevchenko defended the flyweight belt against Zhang Weili in a fight that was boring. And before that, we had a bunch of knockouts. So, yeah, Michael Morales knocked out Sean Brady. Carlos Praches knocked out Leon Edwards. Bo Nickel head kicked Rodolfo Vieira. Poor Beneil Dariush got knocked out with one punch. Full report in the MMA Zone of 411mania.com. Go give it a listen. I also talked about it on the 411 Ground and Pound MMA podcast. Listen to that. I also previewed this Saturday's event there in Qatar, so it'll start at an early time, and that's got a couple of decent fights on it. Kyoji Horiguchi's back in the UFC. Dan Hooker's fighting Armin Saryukian. Ian Machado Gary's fighting Bilal Muhammad. That's all fairly relevant stuff. There's a bunch of stuff on there I am not excited about, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles these days. And next Saturday, not this Saturday, next Saturday, there's no UFC event, so I will be covering WWE Survivor Series. Feel bad for me.
For money. No one feels bad for you.
If you saw what I got paid, you would.
All right, next week on Mark and Robert Hate the Movies, we are reviewing Wicked for Good.
Reviewing is a kind.
And then we will be
Euphemism.
back the following week for Zootopia 2. Yesterday,
Also getting the euphemism.
yesterday myself and Jesse had a good old time looking at some Jonathan Lynn movies. Clue, My Cousin Vinny, for all you kids on TikTok, and Trial and Error.
Yeah,
And
Jesse
then-
had a great time with those. You know, they're solid movies.
Yeah. And this Thursday is a show that was meant to torture Chris Bailey, but he would rather hang out with his wife. So fuck him. So instead, myself and Sean and Kat will be looking at Striptease, Showgirls, and Hustlers.
Why
Because-
was that going to torture Bailey?
Because Bailey is into action figures and cartoons and doesn't seem to like women. Or nudity. Or things
Makes-
done by adults.
Makes one wonder what he's doing with his wife.
And how he got 3 kids, but I assume it's Canada, so Cabbage Patch.
The, the Canadian procreation process differs from ours.
People listening to this like, he's mean when he can't breathe. All right.
Well, lack of oxygen will do strange things to the mind and body.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of strange things in my mind and body, for Robert Winfrey, I'm your old friend Wheezy. Be well, be safe, and behave.